He said, I want to live long enough to raise my kids. So maybe we should think about moving. So I went to the Lord in prayer, and I had ordered some information from 5 different states. And, because if you're born in New York, you have to die in Florida. Like, that's an unspoken law.
That is a law, I'm pretty sure.
Because all my family went to Florida. Yeah. So we were looking at Florida. We were looking at North Carolina, Colorado, because where we lived in California, in Arcadia, Focus on the Family was there, which has always been like my second church. And they had moved to Colorado. A lot of our friends moved. So we said, okay, we'll look at that. So we were looking at different states. Well, I was sitting on my bed at 2:00 in the morning. I'm a night owl. And I opened the packet to North Carolina, and there was a magazine in there, and I was reading about it. And when it turned to this page, there was a little story about this town called Wake Forest, and the Holy Spirit said, that's where you're moving.
What do you mean the Holy Spirit said that's where you're moving?
He just told me, I want you to go to Wake Forest, North Carolina.
I have seen pictures in magazines or online or whatever and find, boy, that would be cool, that's appealing or whatever. What's the difference between that and you believing that the Holy Spirit telling you that's where you're going to move? Can you get into the detail of what that was like for you?
It's like a heavy thought comes in. I had been looking at all kinds of stuff, and I didn't get that with anything until I have the video in my mind that I can see when I turn the page. On this side, it was talking all about Wake Forest. And all of a sudden, I get this, like a download, like, that's where you're going to go. And I was like, Wake Forest, North Carolina. Wow, so specific, gave me the town. So Jerry got out of the shower, he came in, I said, Jerry, God just said we're supposed to move here. So he came, and we start looking at this stuff, and he's like, wow, okay, well, and now we're going to test it. Okay, let's see if that's what's going to happen. So I got more information. I called a lady. I had also a newspaper in there. So I called a lady on the phone. I was looking at houses in Wake Forest to rent. They were not in Wake Forest. It was in Raleigh. So I called this lady on the phone. I said, hi. I said, we're considering moving there. The next day I called her and I said, I see you have a house for rent. I said, could you tell me about it? So it turns out her dad was a retired New York cop. She's like, oh, I told my husband's retiring. So we just wound up talking on the phone. And by the time we were done talking, she says, you know what? She says, normally I have to do background and all this stuff. She goes, but I think I'm just going to rent you my house. So I said, okay. So it's like the door opened and things just started to happen. So we rented a house over the phone. We hadn't even really pursued anything. We put our house on the market, and in 24 hours, we got 3 offers.